So now we're going to switch to category 3. We've been talking about communication. What language can people use to share their needs with others in and out of the bedroom? So question, how do you encourage the people you work with to explore what is pleasurable for them? Also, in a perfect world, how would you ideally have people be educated on pleasure?
I like the way they do it in the Netherlands, where they introduce pleasure and consent at the same time at age 3, 4, 5. And they say, you know, when you have a friend, and 4-year-olds have friends, for at least a day, and so when you have a friend and you hug them, it feels good. It feels good to hug your friend, but you need to ask them because it's their body. And if they say no, then you don't hug them. Okay, it's like it's kind of obvious, but for a 4-year-old, it's sort of age-appropriate learning about consent and about pleasure. It feels good to hug. It feels good to hold hands. You know, once you get to be in that 10 years old range, maybe earlier, maybe later, sometimes people kiss because it feels good to kiss, and that makes the relationship feel even better. That's okay. Let's talk about that. And let's talk about autonomy and consent and boundaries and personal boundaries that you know yourself before somebody asks.
That's what I would have said.
I have some thoughts on it. I have a 4-year-old as well.
I have a 4-year-old and a 10-year-old, and we are working on this consent thing.
Yeah.
The 4-year-old gets it. The 10-year-old, he's a boy. He's working on it. He's working on it.
Yeah. It's easier when you start at 4.
Yeah, it is a lot easier when
Yeah.
you start at 4.
Yeah.
It's so much easier.
And the pleasure thing too is much easier, and especially for young girls. Young girls are not taught about their pleasure at all. Again, male pleasure is presupposed, right? Oh, you're going to have erection and ejaculation in sexual experiences. Female pleasure is not presupposed, but pleasure is had with hugs and with kisses and with all other kinds of outer course and touching, and all of those things need to be validated, spoken, and named.
Now see, on the topic though of self-pleasure is, you know, so most of us, we missed the boat when we were 4 or 6. I mean, I'm sure there are some of us who, like, I find when talking with women that there are like the early masturbators, you know, the ones who were touching themselves at 4 or 5, you know, like their mom had to say, that's good, but you need to do that in your room.
I'm pumping the pillow.
And then there were those who kind of got to it, like, you know, around like 12, 13, 14, you know, kind of that adolescence. But then there were some of us, and I'm in that group, who didn't start touching myself until I was in my mid-20s. I just didn't know it was a thing. And so it did not come naturally to me. It was something I read about, it's something I worked with a therapist about. And for those of us who are in that boat, it's like you have to make a kind of date with yourself. I mean, just like, you know, you plan to go to the gym to take care of your outside body, or you sign up for that exercise class at 1 o'clock and you are going to be there, is you do sometimes just need to say, hey, it's Thursday night. I'm going to study for a little while, I'm going to do whatever, and then I'm just going to go to bed early and just take care of myself. And just make it a little time for yourself. Because it's sometimes, you know, if it hasn't just magically happened on its own, it's not going to. And you just have to set that time aside because you love yourself and because you're worth it. And once you know your body better, it's just going to get, you know, so much more wonderful.
Self-care includes
Yeah.
masturbation,
Yeah.
for sure. That's sensual self-care. I teach a whole workshop about it. And it's not all just masturbation either. Like, sensual self-care means taking care of your sensual parts as well, and the parts that, so like doing a breast exam and doing a vulvar exam and making sure things look right down there and feel right down there too.
Knowing what you even look like. I mean,
Yeah.
that can be your first, like, warning, you know, sign is like, you know, I looked and I was like, oh wow, I'm having like more of a discharge than usual. That got me talking to my gynecologist. I got in a case of, you know, bacterial vaginosis. Happens to all of us. But because I looked, I was like, okay, let me make the phone call. It's part of your self-care, just like, you know, you notice if you had a rash.
I have a woman I've been working with for 5 months, and I've been working with her. It took her so long to look in the mirror. Oh, by the way, she's 43. And so she wouldn't look in the mirror at her vagina, at her vulva. She wouldn't. She was like, and I have a really fun puppet. It's like plush, and it's like, I can make it talk. It's a vulva, okay? It's a vulva puppet. It's lovely. I love it. And I showed it to her, and she's like, yeah, I looked, but my legs were kind of like this. And I was like, you didn't put your legs like this? She's like, no, they were like this. And that's the best as I could do it. So I've been working with her. We're working towards touch. got her some vibes, so we're doing good. The last time I saw her, she was like, because she couldn't touch it with her hand, so maybe a vibe would be okay. She's like, so I pulled it open. It looks just like the puppet. She started laughing at her vulva in the mirror. She was by herself. She had to take the dates. It's like I had assignments, and she looked at it and she's like, it looked just like the puppet. I'm like, no kidding. I was like, that's yay. Look at it again and again and again and again.